right. What am I? I'm not spotlighted yet. Oh. It's 10 o'clock. We're ready to begin whenever you're ready.
Welcome. I'm Karen Ledoux, class of 1978, and I want to welcome you to the final session of Coffee and Conversations, which is a forum for our alumni to share some of the wonderful things that have happened in their careers since graduating from Framingham State College in my day and now university. Today, we're here to showcase Alumni House, which is the epicenter of the Independent Association of Framingham State Alumni, an important component of bringing together alumni and the students and staff on campus. We're here to celebrate the work of Deb Adams, who is the House Chair, who has done some extensive research on some of the aspects of the Alumni House. And I want to give a shout out to Ann Greenberg, who is also here as former House Chair and has worked tirelessly to maintain the Alumni House. Together, you will have some guides who will see you around the rooms of the Alumni House. Anne Ferrari Greenberg, class of 97, Heather Lee, class of 95, the incoming president of the Board of Directors of IASPA, and Mary Liscombe, class of 1970, who is the current president of the Board of Directors, and Francesca, Cerruti Harris, class of 09. So we welcome you, and we hope that you enjoy hearing about some of the intricacies of the Alumni House. So I'm going to pass it on to Deb Adams. Thank you very much. Let me step out of the way so she can lead our tour.
Thank you, Karen. It's nice to be here today to show all of you our Alumni House. This historic property is the headquarters of the IASPA. And since 1874, we have consistently continued our aid mission, independent of any changing state policies or spending practices. Here we have our extensive historical archives and photos and clippings. And this house is at the edge of the campus, which makes it very convenient for administering the financial assistance to our alumni and students. Our archives have the original 1917 plans of a house for Albert H. Wood. The plans were drawn by Boston architect Oscar Thayer. Perhaps Thayer was contacted because a mansion in Newton that he designed had been featured in House Beautiful magazine in 1915. What is this style? In architecture, arts and crafts style was a reaction to the excessive decoration that was the result of the Industrial Revolution. So people felt that it had led to a cluttered look in the Victorian age. And arts and crafts has an open floor plan, natural materials like our woodwork, handcrafted beautiful objects, and interaction with the outdoors. We're sitting in an open floor plan, and the smooth tapered wood columns on the other side of the room are part of the longest interior wall, and they could be load-bearing, or they could simply be the architect following a decorative trend at the moment for a slight separation between the living room and the foyer. The living room conveys elegance and the legacy of alumni who believed in our mission and the house. It's a room to meet and discuss ideas. The furniture and woodwork of a house reinforce the arts and crafts movement. Simple, sophisticated design and exquisite craftsmanship of the fireplace wall woodwork were hallmarks of the style. This is one of our 3 fireplaces that are original with original mantles. The arrangement of the classic furniture in this room is meant to promote conversation. Larger pieces have been placed at the edges of the room, so the center is spacious. We also enjoy the craftsmanship of the college chairs. Some of you are sitting in the college chairs. They are made of solid maple hardwood and they were made in Gardner, Massachusetts, and they have a comfortable saddled seat. This timeless design works well with the the side tables and end tables, which are in the Queen Anne style. Even though it's from the 1700s, they have graceful curved legs and padded feet. The newly restored Danish modern chairs that you see in the center here were originally given by IAFSA to the college, but when they were very distressed, they were returned to us, and we're glad they were. These chairs were the original Hans Wegener round chair, also known as the chair and the Kennedy chair. Hans designed about 400 chairs, saying the good chair is a task one is never done with. This one was his favorite. Just this year, with your donations, we have restored these chairs. Each chair is solid, old growth teak. It has amazing zigzag joinery between the back and the arms, and it has an oiled finish, which brings out the golden highlights in the teak. The armchair was designed in Denmark in 1949 and became instantly desirable in the United States after the presidential debate between Kennedy and Nixon in 1960. The design was used on stage, and in the set, it was seen by millions, and it's credited with starting the interest in Danish modern furniture in this country. This is an interesting photograph that shows that televised debate. Facing the chairs, hanging over the mantle, is the focal point of the room. This lovely painting of Alumni House is by Derek Holdsworth, and he graduated high school in England at age 15 and came to the US from England at age 18. He served in Korea and then became an electrical engineer and later started a printed circuits board company. He finished his career at Bose Corporation. Derek was known for his oil paintings of seascapes and landscapes. On the opposite wall is another painting in our art collection. It's by Lawrence Reynolds, and it's called Nauset Marsh. And Lawrence Reynolds served in World War II. He was with the artillery in France and Germany. And he became a cartoonist for Stars and Stripes magazine, and later a cartoonist for Look magazine. He retired to Cape Cod, where he taught art, and he became known as a seascape artist in Harwichport. Before we move to the sunroom, also on the wall with the painting is one of the home's numerous call buttons. The servants could be summoned in the kitchen when needed. So let's move to the sunroom and join Anne. And please feel free to take a seat in the sunroom or any of the other rooms that you visit so that you're comfortable.
I'm going to sit in the chair.
Yes, yes, please sit in the chair. Are they comfortable?
Welcome to sit anywhere.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
so lovely. Yes.
Isn't it beautiful? Look at this. Stem coming up right here.
I'm not in your view thing yet.
No.
No, that's just here.
You're the star.
Yeah. So this actually is my favorite room in the house, the sunroom. And as a kid, I grew up on Maynard Road, and all my aunts and my mom attended. They're all alums or were alums. And as I'm standing here, I notice there, this plaque says that this room is dedicated to the memory of our secretary, Margaret Egan Cronin, class of 1927. And that's my aunt.
Oh.
And all my mom and all her sisters were very involved with the alumni house. So I go way back, apparently. And for many other people, this room is their favorite room. Please feel free to go out and enjoy the grounds. We've had new plantings. It's a nice time of year that everything is kind of filled in and the yard looks very pretty. You can see that the garage down there, that's ours. That's an arts and crafts style garage. With interesting roof details. And there is a small doghouse behind the garage. And the garage does have a stucco finish. The garage was actually heated, probably with coal, like the house was. This room has a garden feeling with its many windows. I'm very good at washing windows. Usually I do those. I haven't attacked these yet, but I'm sure I will at some point. This is a natural stone fireplace. It's furnished with a high quality wrought iron patio set, bringing the outside in, as you ladies see that. Very important in this room are the Bavarian tiles, if you notice these, and some have animals, some have ships. And these were handmade accent tiles from the arts and crafts movement of 1890 to 1920, were made in Henry Chapman Mercer's Moravian Pottery and Tile Works in Doylestown, PA, which is now a working history museum. The arts and crafts movement in ceramic material represents a rejection of the machine age mass production and a return to handcrafted items in natural colors of rust, gold, green, deep blue, and dark red. Collectors look for the Mayflower tile, which is right here in front of the fireplace. The motifs are as varied as animals and clipper ships, as I said, and many are taken from cast stone plates brought here by German immigrants. The Isabella Stewart Garden created her museum tours also with Mercer's tiles. Over the stone fireplace is a painting which, excuse me, one of our alums did, Ethelyn Lynn Proctor, class of 1926. Many people love the dramatic arch that's over the bridge. It was a form of bridge building used even by the Romans or before the Romans. In the painting, Lynn shows the two vertical sides of rock construction and the arch with its center keystone creating the tension of strength which holds the arch in place. We think she would have been very happy to have seen her picture, especially over this fireplace. Over here, we have a charming watercolor of a man, wife, and child who were at a flower stall. This was painted by M. Shea, who we believe was Mary Shea, class of 1918. We're going to now move into the foyer and talk about the house being built.
Good morning. Welcome. I'm Heather Lee, Target Vice President of IASA. We are going to talk this morning now about the foyer of the Alumni House. And it's a little bit of a history lesson to start. So we start with the question of why did Albert H. Wood family decide to build in 1916? In 1916, our country had ended the most prosperous year in US history. Prices were up, but so were wages, with almost non-existent unemployment, unlike today. So predictions for 1917 were prosperous, and Mr. Wood was a successful grain merchant with his business located opposite the Framingham passenger train station in Framingham. Albert lived here with his wife, his son, and his wife's parents. Some news from the time. In 1917, Germany declared total submarine warfare, even against commercial ships of neutral nations, and the US decided to enter World War I. 218 suffragist protesters were arrested during the year when picketing the White House for the right to vote. Britain gave women the vote as long as they were over 30. Names in the news of this time were Houdini, Charlie Chaplin. Degas passed away in 1917. JFK was born. Russia's Tsar Nicholas and his family were put under house arrest. England promised to support a new Jewish homeland in Palestine. Dixieland music was all the rage from New Orleans. Horace Mann Hall and Pierce Hall were being built around this period. As we pause to think about the arts and crafts style of this house in this time, notice near the front door, we have a painted welcome sign. That slate actually came from our recent roof repair, and it was painted for us by Amelia O'Hobb from the class of 2020. Also notice the details of the crown paneled molding, which is beautiful in this house, all over the place. I mean, can't get this nowadays, that's for sure. And in fact, when the association commissioned this handcrafted welcome desk, so right behind Francesca here, this welcome desk, which was commissioned in memory of Kathleen Ryan Roberts' class of 1937, it mimics the crown molding to kind of fit in, so you barely notice it. It looks like it's part of the house. And it's also on wheels and can be used as a bar if you're having an event here. During the 5 decades that IAFSA has owned the house, there were a few careful redecorations, which did not alter the floor plan at all and respected the period and dignity of the house. An alumni committee, aided by a professional decorator, left us records of one project in 1984. One alumni actually installed wallpaper, and I will say it's right behind you, but if you notice the light switch plate, she matched everything up perfectly, so it's hard to find the light switch because it blends in so nicely. And we are so grateful for the past and present support of the Alumni House Fund. Contributions which enable us to conserve this impressive 1917 house and its furnishing, arts, and treasures that we have here. The other room I'm going to discuss this morning is, if you want to come in a little bit, or when we walk into the dining room, you can take a peek in here. This on the plan was the receiving room. It was titled the reception room. We now use it as a library. So back in 1917, guests would come and they'd be escorted here, and they would wait here for whoever they were meeting and then go to other parts of the house to meet. In this room now, we currently house yearbooks, and we have an extensive collection of past yearbooks from 1908 to 2005, when the college unfortunately stopped doing yearbooks. The Dial yearbooks, as well as our alumni files, are now even more valuable of a resource for genealogy. And this space has a desk in it, which if you were doing some research, you can set up shop in there and do some research. We also have some books on the walls, different authors from Framingham State. On the desk, we have 2 Biedermeier style Biedermeier style lamps, which flourished in Europe in the 1800s, beginning in Germany, and was characterized by clean lines, minimum decoration, and use of light toned local wood like ash, maple, oak, and black gold, and painted accents. This style influenced the Art Deco period, and they are a great example of that time in the 1920s. The lamps fit neatly on the library desk. The first floor rooms are harmonious, even with their different periods of furnishings. You may be amazed at how all the different styles in this tour can work so well together. William Morgan, who is an architectural historian based out of Providence, Rhode Island, has written, "An often joyous borrowing and creative interpretations of different historical styles characterize American architecture of the period, from the Gilded Age to the Great Depression." Now we're going to visit the dining room. So if you would like to come this way, there are a few more seats in here. Oh, you can make him there.
Yeah. Push it in. Take your time, take your time. Yes.
Beauty and comfort. Here in the dining room, we can imagine Dr. Willis, his wife, and their 4 children having dinner. Dr. George Willis, who died at 94 in 2009, was a prominent orthopedic surgeon. He was a graduate of Deerfield Academy, Amherst College, and Jefferson Medical School in Philadelphia. Dr. Willis was the owner who sold the house to the association in 1971. Notice the photo on the small table. And this year is our 51st year of ownership. We also loved the framed photo on the wall showing the annual luncheon of Framingham's New York Club taken in New York City in 1922. You have to take a close look at this picture because the hats and the styles are fabulous. Looking around this elegant room, we see the window treatments and the continuing botanical theme throughout the house. I didn't know if you noticed that. Every room has very earthy botanical themes to them. The Schumacher wallpaper has matching fabric from England, which is fashioned in federal style balances with dead hung side panel drapes. Another interesting design direction in the dining room is that we selected the colors and patterns of the wallpaper and draperies from the colors of the Framingham State commemorative china, which you see in the cabinet over there to the left of the door. Some pieces date to 1939 to celebrate the centennial of the college. All pieces display an image of our impressive May Hall with its Romanesque architecture built in 1889. The transferware china was made in England for our Alumni Association by the Wedgwood, Minton, and Adams Pottery. Staffordshire transfer is made in several steps. The design is transferred from an etched and inked copper plate to a specially sized tissue thin paper. Then that inked paper is pressed into the pottery piece, and finally the china is fired. It's quite a process to make the beautiful china that we have. In this cabinet over here on the bottom shelf, we have memorabilia from our alumni, Krista McAuliffe, class of 1970, who died in the explosion of the Space Shuttle Challenger in 1986. She was a New Hampshire teacher who had been destined to be the first civilian in space. And now it's like every week someone goes to space. So it's amazing that she was one of the first to supposed to go. Notice that the piece have a classic, oh, excuse me, I jumped ahead. The top shelf holds antique silver coffee and tea service by Reed and Barton. Notice that pieces have classical Art Nouveau design, and each is capped with a finial of a morning glory flower in search of the sun. The matching teapot on the table right here. This is so you can get a up close and personal look at it. Has a hinged mechanism for pouring without lifting. We will now pass through the butler's service pantry, and I would love one of these in my house. The storage is amazing. It was unusual for the time to see all that storage. You will see a pass through to the kitchen for a faster service of hot dishes. There is a special narrow cabinet plan just for the table leaves. Notice the original woodwork in pristine condition. This lovely building is perfect for entertaining, and the association does rent it to its members with many guidelines designed to conserve its condition. Our capacity is 49 guests, and a rental, and a rental of the Alumni House includes the 2 patios and open porch for the opportunity to be outside in nice weather, which unfortunately we don't have yet today. With the warm and inviting inside spaces that are available if needed. Now we're going to pass through the butler's pantry. Please take a look and check everything out as we make our way into the kitchen.
This is so amazing.
Yeah, I was looking at that. So
I think it's been pegged.
there's
You don't
the
want
tea in there. I don't want
to come back
Yeah.
and we'll untake it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, wow. Have you been here before, really? I have, but not like this. This is just so charming. So this is another of my favorite rooms, and I will say that I, like many other alums, have washed many a dish at that sink. And one of our alums donated their dishwasher. We were very happy with that. So this bright and airy kitchen is the late 1960s, early 1970s style, with its one-piece sink, drain board, and base cabinet, painted cupboards, and surface-mounted hardware, and a large coil burner electric range, and which actually I think was replaced once. We had an old one. This is the newer one, not the original. The only other recent change is that the Formica countertops required resurfacing, and that happened in 2011. On the basement plans, the room directly, this is the basement door, directly below the kitchen is noted as the vegetables room and was probably cool enough to store root vegetables in the winter months. A room at the bottom of the stairs is marked preserves outside near the back porch, which is down the hall here. And a foot-operated lid conceals a ground cavity for a pail, which would have held the wet garbage from food prep and table scraps. This garbage was collected free of charge by a farmer for his farm animals, especially the pigs. The original owners specified a service entrance door for deliveries in the hallway. From the back porch, an opening for milk and ice deliveries can still be seen. With all these self-sustaining systems, this was a functional kitchen, easily providing meals for the family and their help. This part of the house was closed off from the rest by doors that provided the servants with a private place to do their work. The housemaid had a staircase to her second floor bedroom directly from the kitchen. Serving staff could exit the building, go to the basement, or go upstairs again to their bedrooms and bathrooms, all without passing through the family's quarters. We believe the original owners had servants And then with changing times and misaccommodating floor plan, the Willis family had a helping hand from a Framingham student living with them. On this photo banner, you will see Barbara Bertelli there. Class of 1961. She was shown with TV personality author Godfrey right there. Okay. She was a well-known dietitian spokesperson for Kellogg's cereals, and today is an active member of ISA. Also on the photo banner, you see Framingham graduate Ruth Graves, inventor of the chocolate chip cookie. After she graduated in 1924, Ruth taught home economics at Brockton High School for 2 years. She spent summers working in dietetics at Brockton Hospital. Then she married Ken Whitman, who was also in the food business. And eventually in 1930, they invested in an old Cape Cod house in Whitman, Mass. She said they had more courage than capital. During the whaling industry heyday, their house was said to have been a toll house on the route between Boston and New Bedford. So they decided on that name. She invented the Toll House Chocolate Crunch Cookie, AKA the Nestle Chocolate Chip Cookie, for the restaurant. In 1933, there were no chocolate bits, so she experimented with cutting chocolate bars into small pieces and then adding them to a brown sugar cookie dough. The recipe was published in local papers during World War II. U.S. soldiers from Massachusetts who were stationed overseas shared the cookies they received in packages from back home with soldiers from other parts of the U.S. Then hundreds of soldiers were writing home asking their families to send them some Toll House cookies. Ruth Wakefield was soon inundated with letters from around the world requesting her recipe. Today, the business major at FSU is one of the two most popular majors. With the popularity of the recipe, Ruth made an inspired marketing deal with Nestle. She sold Nestle her recipe for $1 on the condition it would always be on the chip bags and that she would have a lifetime supply of chocolate chips. She secured national marketing for many years for only $1, and her restaurant, which originally seated 35 guests, was sometimes serving 2,000 guests a day by the 1950s. Her Toll House cookbook was reprinted 39 times. Ruth's personal cookbook collection is in the Whittemore Library Special Collections. Now we're going to pass through the back hall here and talk about another successful business. You can follow me. I'll never see it.
Yeah, it looks like a pregnant still.
We have the guys right now. Yeah.
Because I don't know if I'm with them. She died in 1970. It's not familiar. But we have a number of conditions.
So here in the side hall, We can glance into the restroom if you haven't, you can after. And above the sink is a donated Egg-Mise mirror. The pretty scene of Maine, Dwight, and Crocker Halls was hand-painted in reverse on glass. The foreground was painted first. Egg-Mise Designs Company was founded by Massachusetts artist Martha Demerjian. She had her business start in 1965 when she made a sales call in Cambridge showing her reverse painting on glass, and the shopkeeper asked, "Can you paint Harvard's historic buildings?" Orders from Dartmouth followed. Then many colleges all over the country ordered one-of-a-kind college campus mirrors. IAFSA has 2 different FSU scenes in its collection. We're passing by the Pierce Dining Hall charms. Please feel free to return and try your hand at playing them. There is a note explaining how to use them. The numbered chime bars were played with a mallet to announce dinner for many years, until the dining hall changed from a seated service to cafeteria style. Now we're going to return to the living room.
Well, we hope you have enjoyed the tour. I know some people have been interested in the Danish modern chairs. And I just wanted to mention that more recently, we saw these chairs on the set of the film Hidden Figures. In that film about a team of brilliant African-American mathematician women, Katherine Johnson sits in one of these chairs in the supervisor's office at NASA. So on the coffee table here, you might be interested in 4 of the source books that I use for the tour. It includes 2 textbooks from my classes in the late 60s. One is Professor Fiandaka's Design in Home Living, and the other is from Margaret Potter's Household Appliances course. And even though those books are so old, they actually have art principles and technical information that's still relevant today. So we offer this tour by appointment. If you have friends, classmates, anyone you would like to bring to see the house, and please continue to donate to our house fund, because it's because of you that we can do all this. So thank you very much. And if you'd like to go to the dining room and enjoy some refreshments, it's ready for you.